how do you change habits? There are three layers of change. So we have our habits, which are being shown in the middle circle here, right? Habits. And many people think that, okay, I need to change habits, which is not a problem, making a decision, right? Because we make the decision in our logical mind, and logical mind is always logical, right? You never make wrong decisions. I need to go to gym. I need to quit smoking. I need to do all the good works. I need to be hardworking professional. All the good things we quickly decide. It's a hell of a challenge to implement all those good things. We agree in our mind. We have no problem convincing ourselves that you should do it, but we have hell of a lot of challenge to actually implement that. There are two more layers also related to the our identity, which is in the center. So ID stands for identity. So we have a core self, which you could say is our subconscious mind, which is not active thinking, but really it's ingrained in our brain already, and that drives our behavior many times. Perception is an outer layer which we determine based on our experiences with the external world. So let's start with the beginning of human life. When babies are born, so let's take out the first 2 years, because even there is no much level of consciousness. But if you listen to experts, they would say 2 to 6 years age is extremely crucial, because by the time you turn 2 years old, you start to develop some consciousness. And by the 6 years of age, you already have your personality pretty much built up. Why is that so? Now, there is some good logic and arguments about it. And the argument is that when you are so young, like 2 years old, there is no concepts. Your memory is entirely brain. It's like an empty hard disk on a computer. There is nothing in it. There is no judgment. There is no criteria, nothing. Whatever you feed goes right in deeply ingrained into the hard disk. So whatever you tell your younger kids, or whatever your parents, mainly parents or teachers, told you when you were 2 to 4 years old, those becomes your convictions, because there was no judgment. There was no criteria to evaluate those statements. When parents say you are dumb to their young children, they literally take it that they are dumb. Or if they tell that you are intelligent, you could do anything you want, they literally take it granted and accept that. Why many psychiatrists and psychologists say that your personality is built upon what happened to you in the childhood, early childhood, based on this theory. That the 4 to 6 years, or the very early part of your childhood, basically whatever signals you receive from external environment made up your personality, made up your identity, good or bad. And based on that identity, you started to develop your habits. Now, what happened when we are grown up, matured adults, we are still interacting with the world. But by that time, we have developed our judgments. And then we have a system and criteria to evaluate those statements. So now if someone says you are bad or you are dumb, we do not fully accept it. We run it through our judgment criteria, which is already established. And sometimes we get influenced, sometimes we don't. Now let's talk about the people like you and me, who are already somewhere in the middle of their life, middle of their career, pretty much matured, pretty much developed their personality. And we are trying to change our habits, right? It's not an easy task. Because as I said, left brain or left mind is not a problem, logical mind. We are all smart enough, intellectual enough to understand what is right, what is wrong. But when it comes to implementation, we struggle. Because when we are trying to implement, to think of the left brain or conscious mind or subconscious mind. So we are in our conscious mind all the time, right? The unconscious, subconscious, that is already there, but we are not actively involved with the subconscious. Subconscious work on its own. When we try to apply or implement a new habit from our conscious mind is not a problem, but our subconscious interferes. Subconscious say, no, you are not built to do that thing. Or our limiting beliefs that I am not that capable, I cannot work that level, I'm not smart enough, my age is too young or too old, or I don't have that capacity, I don't have time. The biggest identity we have developed as professionals, I don't have time. Now, time is a matter of belief. Time is a matter of mindset. Analogy we have discussed that conscious mind, basically that is where we live all the time. in our consciousness. Subconscious mind is all the time working, but we don't notice. And even when we are sleeping, subconscious is working. We don't notice. Conscious is our analytical mind, rational mind, but it has a very short-term memory. I mean, think of the situations where you are doing multitasking. You can do one task very well, two tasks probably is still possible. Three tasks you are overwhelmed, four tasks you lost, you are completely lost, right? That is the capacity of the conscious mind. Now, subconscious mind is so powerful, it could handle hundreds or thousands of tasks at the same time. Now, we don't notice it, but that's the capacity. And in subconscious mind, mainly our deeply rooted habits, our addictions, it has a long-term memory. I'm sure all of we experience sometimes you have a dream from your childhood and you say, gosh, I mean, it's already 30, 40 years. How come did I revive those memories? And that was your subconscious mind, like a hard drive on your computer. All the things in your life happen already there somewhere. It doesn't come that frequently and often in your conscious mind, but in subconscious mind is already there. And that is where our deeply rooted habits, addictions, and beliefs are there. In order to develop a new habit, you need to work at least 30, 40 days to establish it. First 10 days would be hell of a challenge. Second 10 days would be a little easier. And third 10 days would be more easier. And after 30, 40 days, you would be basically floating like in space. The philosophy or the theory here is that when you are working in your conscious and you work something so repetitively, so routinely, so many times that after certain repetitions, it started to shift in your subconscious mind. If you are doing a new habit for 10 days, of course, your subconscious is not ready. But after doing some part of that habit is transferred to subconscious. And you continue to do for another 20 days, more is transferred to subconscious. And maybe in 30, 40, you are able to transfer that habit built into your subconscious mind. And then it becomes easier. Remember, we also talked about the mastery level, artistic performance, especially for the performing arts, whether it's sports or it's music. These people, when they are demonstrating their skill, they are performing from their subconscious, not from conscious. They are playing piano, they are playing violin, they are figure skating, and it's all happening automatically with no strain on them because they are being operated by their subconscious. So they spend so much time learning that skill, the skill transferred into their subconscious so well they reach to the mastery level. Now, another angle to understand this philosophy, the picture you are looking is neuro pathways in brain. Neuro pathways. Experts tell us that there are billions and billions of neurological pathways in our brain. And you might have heard about the brain plasticity concept, which says that although all parts of the body after a certain age started to mature and their growth diminishes or stops, brain is the only organ which remains plastic, which means changeable, which means flexible. You could always change the brain structure based on your experiences and your habits. And the neuro pathways or neurological pathways keep changing. So when you start a new habit, the neuropaths in the brain started to take shape. And when you continue to do a certain habits again and again, again and again, those pathways started to reestablish. New pathways started to emerge, new pathways. And so much so, after certain repetition, that those become the solid, tangible, established pathways, and that becomes your new habit. And that could happen in any age. So back to the habit formation, we learned that yeah, the childhood is very important, but you can change it. That's a good news. But it requires some efforts, requires some extra time.